And righty ho, welcome to the talk show. Welcome to lots of things that we have on the agenda. I have like 50 things on the agenda, 49 specifically, and probably a 50th just in the... There's so much to talk about and so little time. I have to get to Mother's Day, whatever have you. Oh boy. All right, so number one. Should I be talking to this direction? No. Because like all my soundproofing is over here and over there. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But so hello internet and welcome to Talk Show. Let's do like 4 more intros. Like, honestly, how do you start with a cold open? Usually I'm able to like take a video and just get all the intros and it's like, all right, this intro is good enough. But this is live. This is live, baby. No, but vampires. If you have not seen, I have rebranded a lot of the like I've had like this look for a while. And I like it the best. I think it fits the vibe I like the best. Oh yeah, it's echoey because I am listening back to my own voice. That's why it's echoey. Never mind, don't worry about it. Yeah, so I have been obsessed with like supernatural creatures for so freaking long. Like werewolves, vampires, Twilight, sparkly vampires. I love it, but also I hate it. And also there's so much like terribly wrong with it if you take it at face value, but also it feels good and it feels cheap to read and I love it. I don't know. Twilight is one of the movies why I wanted to get into directing and like I was seriously thinking about directing and like because I watched like the Lord of the Rings, that was one big part about like working on a big film. And then I watched how Twilight was made, and that's such like a smaller, more indie style of filmmaking. And like I could do something like that. The big one, I don't have the cash to do that, but that small Twilight film, oh, I could do that in a heartbeat. Yeah. And then looking at like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, I was like, I could make that in like the Source engine, probably. I could do that with like a small team of just me, myself, and I. Oh, I've been going around to like so many different Vampire the Masquerade ports. So in VR chat, there's several worlds that have been ported over, and I was for such a long time I was trying to figure out how to like export all of those materials into back in like 2021 or so, and put them into VR chat. But somebody figured it out. Because I didn't want to work with like the Half-Life 2 engine. That was insane, trying to like export that, get all the like files, folders, and textures and where they need to go. And it was a very painful process. You had to UV map all of the things again because you couldn't export the UV maps. It was... But apparently someone figured it out and they put like the entire Vampire the Masquerade into VR chat. But they terribly optimized it. And... it was so badly optimized. Like, it was 19 frames for, like, it went from, like, 70, and then as you kept loading in more of, like, the textures details, it started paginating the RAM, and it was, like, they needed to, like, do object calling for one. The other part that they needed to do was to split them up so that they were far apart, and they had full strum calling as well. And that would have saved on so many resources. Because that's how, like, it's done in Vamp. I don't think... did the Source engine have calling? I don't know. But this brings me to point number 1. Bloodlines 2. And how I am dreading Bloodlines 2. I am dreading having to look in the eyes of Bloodlines 2 and be like, hey, let's double check and make sure that this is working. There we go. Cool. That's fine. So we have, I'm dreading Bloodlines 2. I'm dreading it because I want it to be good. And I want it to be like the original, or as close to the source material, or not even source material, like they could do their own thing. I want to feel like Masquerade. I want to feel like Bloodlines 1. But it's not going to happen because people don't tell the stories the same way they do. And there's something about like the source engine's jank that makes everything just a little bit more awesome. I don't know why that is. Like, because you could have like the visual novels that they came out with, and they also have like the swan song thing that they came out with. But it's, and like, sure, it's possibly good, like all right storytelling, but the presentation that the source engine gave it is amazing. And I haven't seen another presentation like that. Because even like the Half-Life engines, that was a game first, story second type of thing, where they were showing off tech before they were showing off story. And Vampire was all story all the way down, and game second. But yeah, like I'm excited for Bloodlines 2, but I know that I'm going to be disappointed. Which brings me into like visual novel creation. So I was looking at some VTubers who've created some of their own visual novels. I think Ollie did it. Just created a visual novel, and like that's something that I've done before. I've created a visual novel before, and I've had volunteer voice actors, writers, musicians, artists to help like bring the piece together. It's a kinesthetic novel and not like a big old choose your own adventure type thing, because I did not have the patience to go through that many assets, to go through that much time in the writing process and the audio process. I wanted to get it done in a month, and the longest part of it was the art. 4 art assets took like almost 60 days to get all the way through. I got the voice acting, the writing, the music, and the programming, and like the putting it all together. I did that in a week, almost a weekend. Going out and casting calls for people and getting people in. All of that happened within like 1 week's time. And then it took 60 days for the artists to go out there and to create the assets. The 4 people. They had 4 people. And there was 1 position per each person. And heaven help them, I love them bunches. But it took way too long. Yeah. So that happened, and that was fun. I understand the plight of video game developers with artists, because with voice actors, you can just get them on the phone, have them record their lines, and they're done. With programmer, I can just do it myself. With the music, I don't know. I was lucky. I was lucky that the composer was able to like pump out 2 different tracks at once. It was insane. I was like, yeah, I was thinking of like this kind of like spooky atmospheric thing. If you can give me like 1 track to play in the game and 1 track to play in the menus, that'd be great. And then like 2 days later, he came back and was like, all right, here you go. Here's 2 fully produced soundtracks, and here's a 3rd just for whatever you need it for. Like, what? How do you do this so quickly? Yeah. Visual novel creation is interesting. But yeah. I know that if I can get like, I was thinking about like a visual novel, like AI generated art, or at least like art assets. or doing like 3D modeling like this, and then just posing the people that I need to in the scene where I need to do it. Then I was thinking about like having to write and then having to do everything, and I didn't have like a fun or cool idea that I wanted to do. It's a lot of work for like very little payoff. Attractive. Yeah. Which brings me to like intellectual properties and signing rights over. So intellectual properties, like some art, like AI art, you can't use in different places. And then and then also if you sequester like art to be made, you have to make sure that you have the rights for that art and you have to like sign that over. So yeah, it's public, right? It is. Cool. Sounds good. I think everyone is probably at their mothers doing Mother Day things. So if you're doing that, good. If you're watching this later, hello. Just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. The streaming things. The notification system did not work. Drats. Huh. Oh well. I put up like a Twitch notification or a YouTube notification for when I went live, and I don't know if I'll figure that out later. It might just never work. So yeah, intellectual property rights and signing it over. Conventions. Why did I put that right after conventions? Yeah. Oh, thinking about like conventions, and I have like 49 lists, and all of it's right here. So conventions, I don't want to go to without a very specific reason. Like, for one, protecting identity. There's probably ways for you to figure out my identity, but I'd rather just separate that and just like obfuscate it. So conventions, I was looking at like the conventions, like the VTuber conventions. I was wondering how all these people are able to get to like there. And I think it's all online, where you have like a booth manager, and then they're able to like set you up with like a kiosk that you're able to like see out a camera, and people are able to like see you like IRL height, which should be fun. And I was wondering like how to do like AR stuff, because I could just turn on green screen and then have AR kind of like put me into like a position, and then have like a Z layer buffer that I'm also able to send over that tells me how close or how far away someone is. So I'll be able to like high five people and have like an image of all that. And there's also like AI like hard light stuff where you have like a 3D printed, and like you send lights down different tubes and it hits certain frequency. Wait, it's insane. There's so much there that I was thinking of, like going to conventions virtually. But I might like go to conventions unnamed, because when I went to TwitchCon, they had like a badge with your name on it, and I was like, all right, this is gonna out who I am, so I'd rather not. But I wonder if like the VTuber conventions are different that way. I don't know. But also like going to conventions is, I wouldn't go unless I was going to meet friends. And even then, like, we'd have to have things to do. That's the reason why I went to TwitchCon. Voice acting and how to sound believable. I don't know. I really don't know. So voice acting is a skill that you learn and that you become proficient in, because you can make character voices. Like, hi, Peter Griffin. And you can do accents. Can you make that voice acting believable? Maybe. Maybe not. But yeah, come on, Bean Cord. Give me stuff. Give me that which I desire. Oh well. So voice acting is an art and skill that I wish there was like a comprehensive course. I think I need to look into like voice acting and how to sound believable, because that's the thing that I'm missing. Because I can do acting, like stage acting, improv acting, just fine. But how do I like go from like, hey, we're making jokes to I'm making you tear up because I, as the character, believe this. My mother just died. Like, how do you get there? And part of that, like, I know just a little bit, like, part of that is you have to feel it first, and then it will come out. And I don't usually express my emotions verbally. It's mostly internal. That's like a wave, and then here we go. And it comes out very monotone. So like crying and doing like big emotional movements are not believable because I haven't done them before. So it's something that would need practice. Practice while actually feeling. Yes. Yes. Yes, Saka. There's so many. Yeah, there's controversial. Vampire VTubers stealing intellectual property while reading visual novels of controversial Canterbury Tales about. Yes, all of them have little. All of them have little. Hi, I'm doing well. I hope that you're doing well too, Taka. That's why there's commas. I have so many things to talk about, and I couldn't name all 49 things in one. And I also have to get to, so I have to talk all about these things, and then get out there and do my yard work, and then go change the shower, do my laundry, and then go to Mother's Day dinner with my family. So there's so much to do. And I put it all off till today. But I'm doing all right. Yeah. Busy. Yes. Oh. Voice acting, how to sound believable, brought me into flaky people and executive function disorders. Right. So, talking with a lot of people and like getting people to do things, because the majority of time, so like artists, like it didn't take them 60 days to draw out the sketch and to color it. It took them 2 days over a 60-day period. And that's how a lot of things happen, is people don't set it as a priority enough to do it immediately. Or they set it as a priority and then they forget about it. And then when they think about it again, they either get to it or they put it off again because like, oh, it's already this late. I can put it off and watch some YouTube videos instead. So like the executive functions is sort of like I sit down and I'm ready, but for the life of me, I can't go and like start working on it. I'm sitting down, I have it open, and I'm just pen on paper, but I just can't do it. That's ADD, attention deficit disorder, or like an executive function disorder, where like you can't force yourself to do something even though everything is right there in front of you. That's like me with playing video games. And we'll get to that. We'll get to like my most controversial video on my channel a little later, which we'll talk about that later. But flaky people, I hate people who don't know how to manage their time, or rather, I hate that aspect about them. Where like, hey, let's set aside this time, let's do this thing, and then they're a no-show. It's like, okay, let's set aside this thing, and then I'll call you up an hour before, like, are you ready to do this thing? No-show. Wasting my time is valuable to me. Even if I enjoy wasting my time, that's time spent enjoying. But, like, setting aside something, and like, all right, I'm just have to sit here and I can't make dinner right now because for the next hour I've dedicated for like this Yeah. So flaky people, like being flaky is something that I abhor, and it's something that I don't do myself. If I have a deadline, I get it done the day it was assigned rather than the day it's due. And that's just who I am as a person. And I know that people have like hard troubles doing this. Hard troubles like not being flaky, and it's not necessarily their fault, but it's something that should be addressed. So communication is key. If you know that you are a flaky person, that you have executive function disorders, tell me. Please tell me. Tell me that most of the time, like, I kind of flake out on things, and then that can be an expectation of mine. And so instead, what I'll do is I'll do spontaneity, where I'll be like, all right, let's do it tonight. Because you're more likely to do something the same day that it's assigned, rather than do something a week from now. For me, I like setting up all my ducks in a row and like, all right, here's these plans for these things, and I have them all lined up, and so I don't overlap or overschedule things. And like getting a new idea down on paper is hard for me. It's just like, all right, hey, Dance, can you come and like do this big collab thing like 4 minutes ago? I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about playing that. If you told me like a couple days earlier, then I'd be able to like think about it and then like come to a decision, and then like usually I'll say yes. But I don't get that opportunity a lot because not a lot of people talk to me about that. But yeah, flaky people. Oh yeah, why do VTubers sing? Right. So VTubing is interesting, right? So Hololive and Nisha Sanji and Idol Group and Phase Connect, V4 Mirai, and a whole bunch of others are musically inclined. They like to produce covers, which is hard for me because this is my top range. So I have to go down in the river, down in the river, down in the river to pray. And all of my singing training that I've done has been with my full vocal range. So having it cut off by like G2 and like above is interesting. It's a hard time. It's possible. There are many teachers out there. I just haven't spent the time doing it in this range. So I feel like my leg has been torn off by figuring out how to do that. It's like trying to run a 3-legged race on your handstands. Yeah. So why do VTubers sing? And I think part of it is because it's worked in the past and it's something to gather a lot of views and not a lot of I don't see a lot of VTubers doing content that IRL tubers do. Like I don't see VTuber video essayists. They're more personality based with like streaming. And that could just be my sample bias. And like the things there's probably things out there, but out of all of like the entertainers that I've seen, like at least in the corpo industry, I don't see a lot of it. There are like talk show hosts that are indies, and people like doing like niches and things, but not like, all right, we're doing like devlog series, and this channel is completely devoted to gaming relating of development and like shader effects and like person holding mic with background and thing like Australia, I forget his name, or like a dedicated YouTube anime review channel. They're like IRL like food things. That's why I think that like Onigiri is something special, where she's doing food review thing, and that's a very unique channel and a very unique like way to show your creative side, which is one reason why I'm doing the videos that I'm doing now on the channel, like every week, coming up with like a video topic idea and then exploring that idea, and then editing that down into like a very concise topic, and I like that. I like being able to not just be, let's play a video game and have highlight funny moments. I did that for a year, or like 2 years, specifically on this channel. And you can see all the highlights in the past videos. And then I started like experimenting. I was like, okay, I need to slow down, figure out what I want to do, because like this is getting old really quickly. And so I started doing like more experimental things. And then I've been watching a lot of how Mr. Beast does whatever, or how to be a successful YouTuber, or like algorithm things. And that's where I got my Fallout video idea, which we'll get to. We'll get to that a little bit later. And it's just like, holy cow. There's just so much to learn. And like every video I want to do like one more thing better. I was like, because for the longest time it was like, all right, let's make a formula, let's do the formula. And now it's like, all right, let's start experimenting, because I have room to experiment. I don't have 500,000 people expecting me to put out an internet historian video, which I love. It's so cool. I love it. Internet historian is like one of my inspirations for how I do my content, but also like put a spin of person onto it, like my own thoughts, my own opinions, like my own struggles, and the human experience with the subject, which I love. Nicknames for chat. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a big enough, I don't have enough people who are constantly talking that I would really mind. I just have individuals. Like, you know that Zaka is an individual that is probably sitting maybe at a train station, I don't know. Is sitting somewhere and watching something. And then we have like Green Randomly, who's been lovely and having like the little timestamps. Thank you very much for doing that. Even if you don't ever do it again, thank you very much for doing that. So like nicknames for chat, I think that's something that should come up organically and not be forced upon. Same with like D&D names. So like D&D group names, like everyone wants to be like Vox Machina or Territon Directing Brigade or whatever. Like D&D names, like that should come up naturally in the course of play rather than being forced by either the DM or the group. And it should be like, all right, what are we going to call you when you call us? And then, I don't know. Yeah, so nicknames is interesting. Though I can't say I ever rode a train. Should I do that one day? Yeah, depends on if you're in America, there's the Amtrak, which will take you from different cities. It's about the same cost as a plane, but it's interesting. Trains are fun. Trains are fun, but they're boring and they're long. And you don't have internet through like half of the journeys that you're going through because you go through like mountain passes. Because like, if you didn't know, internet towers and like cell phone towers follow the roads. They don't follow the train tracks, and the train tracks can go like any which way. So trains are fun. Subways are insane. So if you can go to like New York City and take the subway system, that's like really cool. I love public transport, and I'm an advocate for it. Oshi and Marks. I don't get it. So there's like a whole like debut culture, right? For VTubings with your Oshi or like the person who's inspired you. And then having like marks or like symbols of the people that inspire you. I guess mine would be a clown nose. Like a black clown nose. Did he have black clown nose? Yeah, I think he did. Which would be interesting. Or like face paint. Because neither VR is a dear friend that has... So, do you know... So you have friends, right? You probably had like a friend in 3rd grade. And unless you're in 3rd grade, then hello. Hopefully I don't upset you or your parents. And your parents have given you permission to watch this. Is 3rd grade? No. 7th grade is 13. Anyways, but you probably have friends that you just kind of grew distance with. And it's like, if I see them, like, hey buddy, how's it going? Dab you up. But like having friends that you just kind of just drift apart after a while. And then whenever you see each other, it's like, hey, how's it been? It's been a long time. I think that's a natural thing in life that you have to, that I have to, like say, it's okay. It's okay to have distant friend relationships of people that you're like super buddy with for such a long time. because usually I like either being on or off. I don't like this gray intermediate thing where you have like you kind of say hello to each other, but like you made like 4 months worth of content together and you made like all this stuff. Like Bunny Heart is a good example of a friend who we've just like grown distant apart from. Not in like being mean or anything, but just like she's doing her own thing, I'm doing my own thing, and then like, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. And it's difficult, but also understandable. So yeah, so like Oshi and marks are an interesting topic that I don't think I fully comprehend. Other than like paying respect to the people that set you on your journey. I guess my Oshi mark might be like Lord of the Rings, like a ring, and then like a sparkly vampire. Yeah. Nutella. Nutella's delicious. End of story. No. So I've been putting Nutella. I have a problem. I have a problem. So like I make a healthy cookie where it's like 3 tablespoons of sugar and then like a cup of flour. So that's like a really good ratio to like be a sweet treat and then semi-sweet chocolate. And then make the cookie and put all the like other ingredients in there. Cinnamon and salt and yeast. And then making that cookie. And it's delicious. You've probably seen it on Twitter. But the problem is I put a glob of Nutella and just spread it across the top, and that's a problem of mine. I think I've talked about Nutella several times, but it's still a problem. But yesterday I put Nutella on a banana. I just opened up the banana, put it in a bowl, grabbed a spoonful of Nutella, and just slathered it on the entire thing and just ate it. It was delicious, and I feel so sick about doing that. I love Nutella. It's amazing. Brand deals and affiliate links. This is fun. This is weird, right? So I was looking at like G-subs, for example, and like you can have an affiliate link where people can buy the product with your affiliate link. And then there's the other side where you have brand deals, where like the brand will specifically like make a product for you to sell. So like you have like G-subs flavors of famous like PewDiePie or whatever with like a special bottle thing. And then you have people over here who have affiliate links who don't have a brand deal to make like a special thing. It's like, hey, if you go here and buy this thing with our coupon, you get like 10% off. And then we also get 10% of the money. So I don't get it. Or rather, like, I understand it. But also, it kind of sucks. I'd rather have like branded deals rather than affiliate links, because like making things that show support to the people that are trying to entertain you, and hopefully like we bring value to you, and then you can help bring value back to us, and it's a mutual relationship that helps both bring each other up. And it's like, all right, like I can't go full time. I can't do content creation full time because I have a job and I have like IRL theater things to do, and I have like all these other things that YouTube doesn't pay me, and it probably won't for a very long time unless some miracle happens. But yeah, so the having like brand deals and affiliate links and like Patreon and all that jazz is a way to sustain a hobby that's a business. Technically what I'm doing is business. It is a business. Content creation is a hobby that turned into a business the moment I got paid. And it's not that much, but it's enough. And there's so many more things that I want like invest in, because for one, I want like an actual artist to like put to or like a character design concept artist to take like this and then to make it my own, because like this is just 3D assets that were free that I was able to take and then mash up together to create this, what you see before you. Because I'm not a good artist. I'm an artist, but not a good artist. Like, I put all this stuff together because I can technically put it together, like technical skills, kit bashing, if you will. But I'd want like a concept artist to take like this theme, create a concept around it, and that's like $50 for someone who's just coming out of college doing it, or like $400 for someone who's like well established, and I'm willing to pay, but also I would never make that money back, which is the hard part. So that's why I do everything, like all my art, like all my stuff myself, is because I don't have the luxury to say this is an investment. It'd be more like an excuse to level up my content with no side effects of being beneficial, because this is adequate for my needs. But the day when we have brand deals that I need like a specific art style, because like technically I don't think I can like resell this, right? I can't take this avatar and be able to like, all of it is 100% my intellectual property that I'm able to market and then resell. But if I was to get an artist to do that, write out the papers, like here's the intellectual property, you can sign it off. Like that's good. I like that. But then that's like $400 for that concept, and then I can do art related on that concept and like do brand deals and do all that jazz. And like doing merch lines and things. And then after that, going over and then doing a one-to-one recreation of the 3D model. So that way I can also use the 3D model in a lot more things. Because if I had a 3D model, I'd be able to make a lot more branded content. Yeah. So that's something. And technically, like, I've done a lot to this. Because this... yeah, I've done a lot to the 3D assets to make them my own, but it's still a derivative work rather than my own work. But like a one-to-one 3D model costs anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to make, depending on the artist that I get. And if I'm going to pay $1,000, might as well save up and pay someone. I think it was like $2,500 that I was looking at for like a one-to-one recreation of like a specific character model concept that I would trust would be able to like put the effort in and has the skills to do so, and isn't just kit bashing me and saying like, oh, here's your V-Ride with all the clothing on it, $1,000 please. Like, I could do that myself. I've done it myself. Yeah. And one-to-one model recreation. Neither does one-to-one model creation. I could ask him. But also that's like a whole other thing. Yeah. So yes, we're only 11 in, and I have a little time to get to the rest of these things. What do you already buy, and can I get you a deal? Right, yes. So going into like affiliate and brand deals and stuff is like, what do I personally like? What do I personally buy? And like, can I get a brand deal with that? That's one reason why I did HelloFresh, because they did like, all right, your first box is free, and it's like you sign up for like the minimum meal, and yeah, there is like, I personally have used HelloFresh when the deal was hello. Yep, it's time to do our sound check. Sound check and recording. And this is why I listen back to my thing. There we go. Now I have speech jammer in myself, so I can hear myself twice now. There we go. Okay, cool. Which is weird. So like, I have to make that evens. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm listening back, and whenever that audio thing happens, I have to refresh the audio system, which also makes it so that my audio is delayed by a bit. The thing that I'm hearing back. But yes. So what do you already buy as people? Because like, why do I make a poster? Why do I make like a calendar or like make a little action figure? I don't use any of those. It's not something that I use. What I do use are consumable things like HelloFresh. I guess gamer subs, but I don't like to support like energy drinks. So I'd rather see if I can get like an affiliate link with like a protein shake company, because there's like a couple of, like protein powders that are like ethically sourced and are like a really good deal for the amount of quality protein that you get. And like I've used things that I've personally used from companies. It's like, all right, that was like years ago. I haven't done weight training in such a long time. But yeah, so having that is an entire like ecosystem. I want to make merch that I personally would buy, and I don't buy merch, which means it has to be something that is a really good deal for what it is. If it's like a cool clothing, that is like a good fabric and will last a long time and looks good and doesn't have like my face plastered on everything, right? Or has like a bat or whatever symbol it is, would be an interesting way of doing things. Because I like cloak, for instance, is like just like a circle, with like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, and that's the type of merch that I'd make, is something that you can use in everyday without being like, here's a graphics tee. Yeah, something that I would use. Yeah. Why are some company application forms just Google Forms? Right. So every single like big corporate VTuber company and all the smaller ones use Google Forms. I don't know why they don't have their own system. It seems unprofessional to me. As someone who works in development and in web development and has made forms, it seems super unprofessional to have a Google form for audition sheets and to have like Google Forms for like all these different things. You know, you can like embed those sheets into your website. It's just, I feel like they paid for their website and they have like one person working on like the website marketing stuff, and then they have like an HR person that has just like the Google Forms setting up. They don't have developers, is what I'm saying, and they can't afford developers to come in and do that, which is something I bring to the table. Sometimes I look at some of these like VTuber sites and I'm like, all right, hey, if you have me on your crew, I could like do an entire like web series about redoing your architecture for your website. And yeah, I don't know. It's something. I love it. Redesigning websites from the ground up, right? Yeah. So something that I'd love to do is, if I'm in like a company or someplace that has a website, be like, all right, let's do like a video series of or maybe just one video that's really long, of redesigning something from the ground up. I'm very hesitant on doing coding, like live stream coding, because there's a lot of personal data on my machines that may come up with like file names and stuff and all that jazz. So I'm very hesitant about that aspect. So I'd much rather like record it, edit it down, blur out all of the sensitive information, and then, because like even if like I was to sandbox it and do it in my own environment, there's stuff in there. So yeah, I think that brand deals, or no, or redesigning websites, like that'd be a fun like hobby if I were to be in a company that does that. Yeah. Binge watching culture. Interesting. There you go. So binge watching culture is interesting. How like I'll watch CDogVA play all of Final Fantasy 9 or 7 or whatever from start to finish in like 3 days. And he also played it in like 2 or 3 days. I think it's interesting. So I think Let's Play culture of having 20-minute episodes where you go from the beginning to the end is almost dead and has been replaced by streaming. Now, having said that, I personally like the long playthroughs or like full playthroughs. So if you've seen Jacksepticeye go from like episodic to like full playthroughs, that's something that he's been doing too. Where you play the entire game and then you edit out all the boring stuff, and then you're just left with like a 3-hour video of 10 hours of worth of content. Which is just like hammering down all the notes of the entire game and like all the fun parts about it. And that's something that I... Hello? Testing. 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 There we go. All right. Cool. Yeah. So we're testing it's like speech jammer. I have to listen to my voice like a half a millisecond back. So the binge watching culture is interesting for doing content differently, or what's it called? Like playing the entire game and then editing it down. I get too harsh with my edits because I don't know what people like. All I know is that I've played a game and I know what I like. That's like I recorded the entire playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade and then I edited it down into 7 minutes from like 12 hours worth of content, which I think is too much. I think it is. But then if you take like Josh Schreifhaze, no, if you take RT, no, the guy Let's Game It Out, who takes all of the things that like Raft, for instance, will do an insane amount of hours of work just to turn around and make it into like a 10-minute meme video, which like the production to end product quality is hard for me to grasp. There you go. Yeah, okay. It's hard for me to take into consideration because I'd much rather like be very specific about my recordings. So the videos that I've been doing lately are like 30 minutes of recording for like a 7-minute video, where I'm switching out different scenes, doing different things to make it so that it's easier for and doing like a couple takes. But I know exactly what I'm going to be speaking about, and I put everything in beforehand so that when I do the recording, it's very clean. Watching full game throughs, creating full game throughs. Yep, we've already talked about that. Hard to sit down and play a game all the way through. Oh yeah. So Fallout is part of this. And like it's hard for me to sit down and play a game all the way through. The last one that I played was Horizon Forbidden West. But I even like cheated to make that go faster because I wanted to skip all the boring parts, which was a lot of the travel and a lot of like the go here, grind, do these side quests. I just wanted to like go through and have an easy experience. I wanted to use less brain power in the end. So my entertainment habits are changing. I used to be able to like pick up a game, play it, and then be satisfied. Or play like a multiplayer thing over and over again with people and friends. But now it is a little bit different. I'm much more sit back and turn off my brain. I'm becoming old, which is fine. I'm wondering if I'm developing ADD, attention deficit disorder, where I can't like, I have like a functional thing where I can't like sit down and like figure things out, but I don't think that's what it is. Finally on to page 2. Right, friend entropy and natural distancing, we talked about that. Oh, why can't I just love trains? Right, so like hyperfixations are a thing. So mine is like audio and technical things and like computer related technology. But sometimes it's just fun to love trains. Because my cousin loves trains and he can tell you everything about them. And my other cousin loves Godzilla and can tell me everything about the Godzilla. Both of them have a lot of autistic traits. Yeah. Evolution of opinions. All right, yes. I'm probably going to cancel myself one day. That's gonna be weird. Like, so the bane of Batman, right? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like, that's something that I am constantly aware of, is that I'll probably have like bad takes on things, or I'll have takes where it will be misconstrued, or I will do actions that show that I am ignorant in something and that I've said something that upsets people, which I've done before, I'll probably do again, but I want to not do that. I want to have an evolved opinion, and be able to say, like, you know what? I used to believe this thing, but I didn't look into it deeply enough and I didn't hear the other side. Like, I was very, like, transphobic for the longest time. And it wasn't until I started to have a lot more trans friends and started to, like, I need to get rid of, like, this this feeling of disgust in my stomach, and to overcome that, to be able to see trans as people. And that's something that I had to, like, go through and figure out and, like, understand deeply to a point. I'll still catch myself, I need water. I'll still catch myself having, like, bigoted thought patterns or, like, intrusive thoughts that I'm like, that's wrong. That's wrong. Like, one of the big things is like mutes. Are people mute because they're you beforehand it was like people are mute because they don't want to show that they have a man or a masculine voice. And then I changed that to, like, people are mutes because they're trying to do feminine voice, but it doesn't, like, their voice doesn't match who they are. And then I switched that again, and it's like, okay, people are mutes because they want to be mutes. That's it. And so it was like transphobic to trans biased, where I was thinking that there's a problem, and there's no problem. It's like, all right, mutes because you want to be mutes. If they do have, the other part is, like, I want to be helpful because I've done a lot of vocal training, and I would love to, like, help my friends who are mutes because of the reason I was mute. But if they're not, if they're just like, I just want to be left alone and just do my thing, it's like, gotcha. Attractive. So that's, and like those evolving opinions over time, it's like, I get it now. I want to be able to evolve my opinions and be able to be like, no, that was wrong, because I'm scared of waking up everyone to, like, a knock on my door and then being busted down by a SWAT team because someone hated the way that I said something or had an opinion about something. I can't please everyone, but I can try to do my darndest to practice my own moral compass. So, like, I have to get rid of all my biases and all the things that I've grown up, like, hating about, for example, like the trans and the mute things. And it's like, oh, it's like turn from, like, phobia to biased to, like, understanding. And, like, I want to be over into the understanding part. So, yeah, and that's something that I want to be, like, open and honest with the communication. And, like, if I've said something that hurts your feelings or, like, seems like I don't understand, I want to be able to understand that place, where you're coming from. And I want to do it in, like, a loving and open way rather than in a I'm accusing you and you have to prove it to me way, right? Like, change my mind, I hate that. Like, just the change my mind signs and, like, change my mind about this topic. It's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it. It should become to be more like, I want to understand you. I want to understand your opinion. Like, that should be the sign. I want to understand your opinion. because that's what I believe is a healthy way to live. Yeah. Hopefully I don't get canceled. I probably will. That kind of sucks. I have before. Probably will happen again. Oh well. Live learning and developing of opinions, not in a vacuum chamber. Right, yes. So, like, I want to always be actively learning. You know, the International Phonetic Network. Its linguistic significance. Interesting. International Phonetic. I know that phonetic you have, like, so I did, like the phonetic, like English phonetic alphabet, where you had a, like, tour. It's been 10 years since I've done this, but I had to create a way to do like a soft search in a search engine where we were taking what people typed in and then giving them back things that kind of sounded like it. So if you did like beer and you spelt it as bear, or like homophones or phonetophones, or if you're doing names, for example, if you're like Thomas, and you spelled it Tomas or Thomas, both of them are phonetically the same, so it should come back with both of those names in their phonetic categories. And we did like a phonetic algorithm to be able to parse it into 2 columns, one that did like one fuzzy matching way, and one did like a more strict way, and then we had like strict algorithms. It was a whole thing. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Every language is represented with an individual grapheme representation. Constants are static as they are breaks vowels. Right, yes. So, like where you place this is also something for like the great vowel shift. So it took like a, e, u, e, o to a, e, I, o, u, which is, if you're to look at a side, it placed everything up and forward in the place where you created those vowels. And like all of your vowels that you make are like different positions of your tongue and like your glottal stop and your resonance chamber. So like an are multiple different ways of saying the same letter A, but are all phonetically different. It's insane. Like you can take, like there's a like computer game, like a website where you're able to create vowels by pulling on like tongue muscles and like mouth muscles, and it's insane. And everyone has a different way that their tongue works, their mouth shapes. So the way that they sound, like the way that the consonants is, it's insane. There's so much of it. But yeah, yeah, they're the phonetic alphabet where you have like the A, E, and like the different signs and whatever. Yeah. So like, if you take like accents, like a British accent, you push all of your where you're saying your things like back into your glottal stop, back where your uvula is. And if you put everything into the front of your mouth, then you are Donald Trump. Yeah, it's insane the amount of like stuff that goes on with the mouth and like the way that you say things. Let's see, evolution, life learning, the duty of review. I am all. Let's fix this again. Let's see, change this to. Cool. Alright, yes, so reviewing something, right? So the purpose and like the duty of a review is to understand your audience and then to make a review based on their taste. Hopefully, if you did it correctly, your audience has the same taste as you. If you start like lying about your own opinions, so like, but also doing it. Hello. Okay, cool. Just checking my own audio systems. So where you put, so like a review that I'd want to make for a game is like, here's all of my biases. Here's everything that I enjoy. Here's everything that I don't enjoy. So wherever you like spin off on these things, know that I come at it with this bias right here. Because you can't talk about anything without your own biases. That's impossible. Even like objective facts have biases, like 2 + 2 = 4. That assumes that everyone is on the same page about how math works, and how axiom works, and how we've defined the set theory. Because you can do a whole lot of things if you have a just completely different like perspective on how like math works. It's insane. Yeah. So like the point of the review is to get your own biases and things out first. Live learning informational duty of the review. That's what I want to do when I pick up games and pick up different things, is not to bash on like the game itself, but to bash on how my expectations and what I want from something doesn't meet the expectations of what the developers have created. And like they've created this thing, and if I had these expectations, it would match perfectly, but I don't. Like Bloodlines 2, I'm expecting it to kind of be bad, so I'm like lowering my, or like not even bad, like just not what I wanted, just not the same as Bloodlines 1. Because bad is a weird thing. Bad is subjective. Bad is objective to me and how I view things. So I think that putting Bloodlines 2 on a pedestal because Bloodlines 1 was that good, no, we should judge it as its own isolated thing. Like Mass Effect Andromeda, we shouldn't put Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 as the example of what Mass Effect Andromeda should be. We should put Mass Effect Andromeda as its own separate entity, its own separate game, and it kind of holds up. And there's paper on magnetism, electricity, fire, no, maybe. But where's that? Right. Yeah, algorithmic things are, there's so much math. I was terrible at math, but I had to pass it in order to get my computer science degree. And I've never used calculus ever again, or discrete mathematics is the closest thing that I've used, but De Morgan's law is the only thing that I remember that I use. There's a whole topic to be said under there. But yeah, Pythagorean is interesting, the way that trigonometry and like triangles work, and we use that a lot in game development, where you're focusing on shader stuff and other type of like heavy math and simulation stuff. Easy. Nice. Yeah. Where to put VTuber window on top of it? Right. So, I've seen a lot where like, I don't know which direction everything is. Right. So, this right here is where like CDog V8 would put his things, and like some other people. This up here is where Markiplier would put his things. This right down here is where I put my things. And this right here is where every single VTuber I've ever known puts their things. Why? I don't know why. Is my mouth open? And it's been open for like it has been open for a long time. Let's just put this over to, there you go. Hello. There we go. Hobble. Yeah. It's been interesting. Yeah. But I like mine right here. I like putting it like this tall and not like this tall. Yeah. For game stuff. But it also kind of depends on the game. Like you have all of your information that you need to see over here, and there's nothing over here. You just like slide it over here. Or if it doesn't really matter how much like ammunition or stuff you have, you just like put it over here. Yeah. But I like it on this side. This side is weird. This side feels like it's obstructing my view for some reason, and this side doesn't. I think that's a Western approach to thinking because of the way that things are oriented in like Asian writing, specifically like Chinese and Japanese. We read this direction. So like I wonder if it's like a cultural backlash, or not backlash, like a cultural integration of like VTubers and then like people saying things, like how you have like borders and stuff around everything, and you have like chat doing stuff. And I personally, as someone who has like stimulation issues, that's too much stimuli. Having like things fall on people's head, having like giant chat windows and big old messages over here, and having my character getting like smacked with other things, like that's just too much. Way too much. Yeah. Game literacy. Right. Game literacy is a real thing. Like, what does a red barrel mean? If you said it explodes, you have game literacy. If you say it's a red barrel, I don't know, it has oil or whatever, then you have not played Half-Life. Or like any games from this decade. So, and then like you take that like that barrel concept, and then you can transform it into like Halo pylons where they're like glowy, and you look at them and it's like, I could probably shoot that and it'd probably explode. Like that's game literacy, like translating things that you know from other games into things that you know from the games that you're currently playing. Another one is if you've played a lot of Half-Life engine things where the scenery reacts with you. I was like watching Montara play Vampire again. I've mentioned this several times. Where it took her 30 minutes to realize that you have to throw the barrel into the water in order to stop the big old blades from moving. And for me, you went through a little tunnel, you saw the barrel, and I was like, oh, that's going to go into the water. Because I see all of the things that they did. So what they did first, same with like Portal and different, like teaching the players how to think. You like went through and you had to move a barrel in order to get through something. So, you can move barrels to progress through one room. And then you crouched and you went down and then you fell into water. And you get pushed forward in that water and you have to climb out of that water in order to not die. And in order to learn that lesson, you have to learn how to swim against the water. And then you get up and so that's one thing. And then you learn to jump over things. And then you learn to like put the barrel into the water and it would throw, and it's like the only thing left that you can do in the room. And the room is blocked off in such a way that you can't take the barrel out of the room. And so all you can do is just randomly throw barrels around or go back to the other room. And you see like this little vent thing that you've been trained beforehand to like walk through. It's like, I need to get there, but I don't know how, because if I jump on the thing or if I go swim on the thing, it doesn't work. And it isn't until you start like getting frustrated and throwing barrels around the room and something like it gets in the water, because like jumping specifically like jumping in the water is also teaching you that like water is important, and you get frustrated and just like throw things places, and you'll throw the barrel down into the water and ta-da, you've solved the problem, you've solved the thing. So yeah, that's game literacy is interesting. Like you learn how to play games as you play games, and then you learn how to play games you've never played before by playing other games that you have played before. It's Windows Movie Maker. Yeah. So back when I was a wee little lass, I used Windows Movie Maker a lot to create videos, and specifically to create like animated music videos. So I got like a CD of Japanese music just because it was Japanese. And I didn't care who the artist was. I just went to my local shop. Hello? Okay, let's change that. Testing. So so the Vibe came back to me and said that they couldn't do anything about my microphone, which sucks. So I'm debating on whether or not to save up. Like I made a throne, right? And if you look at the links, I made a throne of like improving the mic quality is one of them, where I have like a wireless system that isn't attached to this headset. Because I can use the Vive mic. It sounds terrible. It sounds like a tin can. Or I can use a lavalier mic, which sounds really good, but has the buzzing issue because the connection between the USB and the wireless headset to the computer doesn't work as well. What I can get is like a wireless transmission device that will go from like clipped onto my shirt and then go over to the computer, and it will bypass the headset mic. So if that should probably work. Probably is the keyword. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing that I hope to fix. Yeah, movie missions maker. I made AMVs, and I put in the description like, disclaimer: this is not my music. Please don't take down this video. That's not how copyright works. Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion. I'm excited for it, but also I know that month I will do nothing but play Final Fantasy XIV until I've gotten all of my characters up to level 100. Or not all of my characters, all of my professions, including crafting and gathering. That's going to be a busy month of like 14-hour days, where like 8 hours of those days I work, 8 hours of those days I play Final Fantasy, and the last, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it. Playing a full playthrough of some games. So, I'm wondering if I should play a full playthrough of, like, let's say Fallout 4, or if I should play a full playthrough of Vampire in October and have that on YouTube, because I've played games before. And I know. So the main thing about like the Fallout 4 video is that I wanted to record myself playing Fallout 4 from beginning to end and then edit that down into like a super video. But that brought off into like the I can't play something, so maybe a stream. I don't feel weird playing games, because I feel like that's the least engaging content that I can create. But I might. And I might play, depending on what happens over the next coming weeks, I might play like a full playthrough of a game and have like every Friday or Saturday until it's done. And then take the entire thing, edit it down, and then upload it as like a highlighted video that's like a couple hours. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It depends on what people are asking for. Because the only reason why I'd force myself to sit down and play through a game isn't because I enjoy playing the game, but because I enjoy the camaraderie that I have when playing the game with other people. I love like chatting with people who are there. So I might not play like a full playthrough of a game until I have like a consistent chat. A consistent amount of people that are constantly like bickering back and forth and are like seeing the playthrough, because your energy gives me energy. It's the same with improv and stage. The more people that are laughing and are responding, the more energy that I get to keep going. And that's like, it's a weird phenomenon, but it happens IRL stage. Like last Thursday we had a really good crowd, but the 2 Thursdays before that we didn't have a really good crowd. We had like 3 people. This time we have 10, 15 people. And they were laughing, they were participating. It was amazing, and we liked it. I've done some like 100 people shows, and those are just amazing. And I love when I have a lot of people to perform for. It makes performing easier for me, because I'm able to like, oh, you like this, and this is fun. And I'm able to, like, if I get into a down moment, I'm able to look at chat and say, like, oh, technically you're allowed to see someone even performing work in fair use is the defense or affecting someone without establishing it as parody can be problem. Right. The defense. Yeah. Can be problematic. Fair use is weird. Even publicly performing a poetry reading. Yeah. Yes. Any public performances, no matter what. You'll have a hard time proving that the performance happened in court if it's not recorded. So, yeah. Performing work, like even games, like if game developers decided, like, you can't play my game, Nintendo, they can do that. They have all the rights in their power to do that. Like even poetry and there's fair use is a defense, but it's like a razor thin. It's like wet rice paper, right? You try to like scoop up your little part of the internet, and hopefully you get your little rubber ducky. But you go in for a second one, you're probably not going to get that rubber ducky. Especially affect the money when it's copyright written. Yes, but it's really hard to prove that in court, that it affects money, unless you're like selling merchandise. That's like very easy to be like, all right, you sold this merchandise, so this merchandise all belongs to us. But if you're just creating like entertainment value without being paid, it's a little harder. But also, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know the legal ramifications of being sued for creative copyright. There's so much there. Also, I have no idea if Neon is watching from the beginning or not. So that's another thing, right? So in YouTube, there's an option for me to enable DVR recordings, where I'm able to be like, all right, people are able to like scroll, rewind, and then like go forward. And then some people are able to, and then I can force people to be live with me. So I don't know if the comments that are coming in right now are from people watching an hour ago or are watching right now. But I'm iffy on both of them, because at one, I want to like talk with the person and know that they are talking real time with me. So that way, like, it isn't 40 minutes later that you're like, why didn't she reply to me? It's like, well, I did, but you were like 40 minutes behind. And I wanted to like have a conversation, but yeah. Or like you paused it to go to the bathroom and then you come back and you're like 4 minutes behind. So I don't, because Twitch, you don't have that. Twitch, in order, what would be fun is if you had like the recording that you're able to view separately, like Twitch does, where you have to go out of your way to view the recording separately than what the live stream is going. I don't know, because I like being a silent and just saying lies when you don't entirely art piece from scratch. Should never do it, because case by case. More like you're open to risk. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Start definitely there. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Which is interesting. Yeah. So like, there's always the risk. And indie VTubers take more risks than like corporate VTubers will take. So like corporate VTubers are like, we have to get permission from all these different people to do this like specific game or whatever. And that's because it's more lucrative to take a like Hololive to court than like an indie to court. Because also it'll be like a really bad PR stunt as well. To be like, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. But going back, I have like, I want to just go in the beginning, not sure how you recommended me and stuff. Oh, yeah. No, like, you're fine. What I was just saying is like the, Yeah. So like if you're ever wondering if you're live or not, you can click on the little button that's, if you like scroll over where like the play button and stuff is, there's a little button that says live. If you click on that, then it will take you to the front of the live stream. But I'm not too surplused about that or like worried. Because there's a reason why I turned on DVR to begin with. It's because I personally like to watch DVR content. I like to like scroll back to like a certain point in time to like, or like, I like pausing and like going and using the restroom and then skipping breaks. So if someone's playing a video game and they're silent for like 4 minutes because they have to like go grab the door or something, I like to be able to just skip that 4 minutes rather than watch it in real time. So I do other things and then like come back and watch like, yeah. So that's how I like to watch things, because I don't usually participate in chat unless there's like a specific thing to be said. There's like, oh yeah, like this thing here, do this thing, or like your audio is out or whatever. But yeah, but so I can see why having it on or off. So, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter, or it does matter, but both choices are valid. Right, throne wish listing. So I put on throne wish list like the wireless communication, as well as an iPhone and the Stream Deck. Specifically, I'm thinking of. Uh-oh. I exploded. Oh no. The CPR crash? No. Hello? I think Steam VR crashed. That sucks. Let's figure this out. Oh! Let's see. Because I can't hear myself. Let's close Steam VR and open it up again. It's searching. Critical problem. Yay! Alright. Come on. I have, like, I'm 30% or 75% of the way through. Thanks, Steam VR. Come on. It exploded. Yeah, my entire VR system exploded. Levels advanced. Listen to. Testing. Testing. There you go. Now I can hear myself back again. And now what I need to do is stop Steam VR somehow. I exploded hardcore. Shut down Steam. Open Steam back up. But while this is going on, I can play more about. You get to see from start to finish. So like throne wish listing. One thing is when my headset goes out like that, you'd still be able to hear me, which is one cool thing. And then the iPhone is for facial tracking, and the dock is for being able to use non-facial tracking things. Cool. It's on again. That's on, that's on, that's on. All right, and then we start up the VR chat program. That was the first time it's hard crashed in quite a while. Like super hard crash. But yeah, so that's something that I've been thinking about. But that's like $1,000 to get all that stuff, which is a lot. But I would only get the Stream Deck and the iPhone if I was to start doing like desktop streaming gaming. But the wireless mic is something that would be beneficial so that this stuff doesn't happen anymore. Now you get to see all of the fun calibration stuff. There you go. Let's get you out there. So this is the stuff that I cut out of videos when I hard crash. Night mode, and then a video, YouTube Studio Live, bring that out. Yes. Darkness. And then we have the other thing, which is my notes. No, that's not my notes. My notes. There you go. Cool. Let's go cactus. I like cactus. Yeah, I find where, so iPhone tracking, I want to get like a refurbished one that's maybe like 13 or something. Am I? Hello. Hello. There you go. Cactus. They're like super. It's dusk. Okay, I'm good this way. Normal maps were weird. There you go. We're back and we have cactus now. Actually, cactus should be on this side because I like standing on this side. So, and also you go behavior, auto level, and down a bit. There you go. Welcome back, myself. Throne wishes iPhone. The iPhone has the best face tracking. I wish I could do the face tracking without the iPhone parts and just get the face tracking parts, but it doesn't happen that way. Yeah, the wireless mic not to connect to the headset, Stream Deck, and the key bindings for so Final Fantasy XIV. I use every single key bind that I have on my computer, and so like even the numpad I still use. So I'd have to get like a specifically Stream Deck or like a secondary keyboard to do all the things that I'd need to do for like expressions, which I haven't experimented with a lot, so I'd have to start making expressions for my avatars. Finally, we can get to Fallout 4 game. Is right. So we can talk about the Fallout 4 game. So the Fallout 4 video did way better and way more controversial than I thought it would. It has almost like 1,000 views, which is 10 times more than my collab view. 20 times more? I think it's 20 times more than the previous video before that, which is insane. But it also has like a 60% like to dislike ratio. And I think it's because people thought that I was doing a Fallout 4 is bad video based on the comments. But that's not what it was about at all. The Fallout 4 thing was about me not being able to sit down and play video games like I was able to. I played Fallout 4 from beginning to end. I think it's a good game. Like a really good game. I just can't sit down and play it. I think part of that is because I've already played it before, and part of that is because, but I played it like 10 years ago on the console. But also part of it is that I can't sit down and play games. Like that's the whole, like, tell me you didn't watch the video without telling me you didn't watch the video. Give that video a thumbs down. Because all of that was like, I want to enjoy this, but I can't sit down and press the play button. And I think it's because I'm too stimulated. And like that's the entire like 75% of the way in and on. All about that. So I'm pretty sure people like clicked on the video, saw that like I can't make it fun, and they're like dislike. And even the people that like read comments and did comments like, yeah, do you like mods or do you like this thing? It's like, that's not the problem. Doing mods doesn't make it me be able to sit down and click the play button. That's not the problem that I'm having. The problem that I'm having is that I can't get myself to play the game to begin with. Do you watch breakdancing? Do you know the part crew from there's a special technique? No, I don't. So my experience with dance is all improvised. Bought Fallout 4, included all the DLC on sale, and let's grab that and make that bigger. I'm not that progress into the story, manage to grind and place mods to make things more interesting. Right, yeah. So like mods are cool. And I like mods. Like I play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines with mods because I've played it so many times without mods, and like it's the same thing over again. Can't games anymore either. When there's something more interesting, you can't focus on replicas. Yeah. So like even Forbidden West, right? It's a meh game for me. It's amazingly produced. There's like I really like sci-fi stories, especially built in like fantasy lands. It was really like I love, that's what I live for. People said that they hated Assassin's Creed when they put the sci-fi element in and you like woke up and you did the thing. I sucked that up. I love it. I love sci-fi elements and fantasy things. Like that's some of the novels that I've written are fantasy-based things, or sci-fi-based things in fantasy worlds. Racquetball, the seals. Yeah. I have so many friends that have been hurt from racquetball. And their partner's like, ah! But yeah, I think the big thing is that, like, I have Fallout 4. I never played the DLCs because the DLCs didn't exist when I first played through it all the way through. So I was trying to sit down and like figure out a new way to play Fallout, which is like sit down, read things, and get immersed, and like just kind of wander around without a map and just go places and do things. And that's not how I like to consume my content. I like to consume my content from point A to point B, but I was afraid that I would end up stopping the playthrough because of the, what's it called? The nostalgia effect, where it's like, I've done this before, I know what's going to happen, kind of. It's been 10 years or however long, 9 years, I don't know. So the nostalgia effect is lost on me. Yeah. So I didn't have a reason to play it. And I wanted a reason to play it. I wanted a reason to get back into it. Because Fallout 4 was like growing back up in its popularity ever since the Fallout things came on. Like it skyrocketed. Like people started playing Fallout 4 again. It's like, cool, I could do a video about this. I could do a long play and like put it down. But that's the video that came up with. Also, you keep back in front of your face and ball. You're right. You know what's even better? You know, like you have the glass and then you have like the racquetball and then you're able to hit it. So if you go behind that glass, it can never hit you. Think about that the next time that you're playing racquetball. Give it up on the side. Yeah. So that brings me into V-Rising. V-Rising just released as well. Went from 3,000 players to 80,000 players. So I want to make a video about that. And how it's made me realize, like, I can't, so I sat down and I played like 4 or 5 hours of it, and then I couldn't pick it back up again. Like, I love like the crafting and like the resource gathering, and I love the concept, I love the idea about it, but it made me lonely. It made me realize that this would be a lot better with friends, and therefore I can't play it. It's like, it makes me lonely. And I was like, the whole thing that and like Satisfactory is the same as well. Like Satisfactory, like playing it and making the logistics. I love logistics games. I love like having to go out, like do a progress-based thing. That's why I love like cookie clicker games. But because it's not so brain dead easy and it requires some actual thought, I get bored because I'm not doing it with a friend and I have like no intrinsic goal to complete the game. Or at least the intrinsic goal that I had was met, and I can't complete the game. So like for V-Rising, I wanted to get into it, I wanted to play some of it and explore a little, and when I got the hang of it, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Now what? I do the same thing again, just go fight another boss and go grab some more stuff and then come back and build a bigger base, but what for? If I had friends and like, then it would be an extrinsic goal for an intrinsic purpose of like playing with my friends and progressing with friends. That's the thing that I was missing for a lot of games that I play now. Satisfactory, Factorio, V-Rising, Halo. I like doing games with friends and I'm missing that and it makes me lonely. So I think that's the video that I might create this week, and have like more like I wrote down like an entire script. I'll probably say nothing that's on the script, but I wrote down a script. Hades 2 just came out. So Hades 2 made people come back to Hades 1, which is fun. Streamers with over 3,000 concurrent viewers have multiplicative effect on games. Yes, this is also another thing. So people who play multiplayer progression games like V-Rising, like that has a very positive effect on the game's popularity, because you get like a resurgent, like some super popular YouTuber plays VR chat, for example, and then so many people get into VR chat for those few days, and then it kind of dies back down again, depending on like what different communities are in. Yeah, there's cross-pollination everywhere. Like Sky is one of the things that I saw Connor and Iron Mouse playing. I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. But I would only want to play it with friends because that's it. The purpose is to go there and make friends, but I like experience things with other people. And if I can't do that, then it's kind of a wash for me. And yeah, it's like the Catch-22, right? You play a social video game to make friends, so that you could play the social video game. And it's hit or miss because like the majority of people that I play with are just fine. Some of them are D-bags, and very rarely I'll find like 1 or 2 people that like, I could do anything with you and have a good time and I like your presence all the time. But most of them are in the middle section where like, if I'm playing the game and if I'm in the mood and if you're on the VC call, I might play a little bit with you, but I'm not going to go out of my way to invite you over to VR chat so that way we can play VR chat as well, or do like, yeah. Now that you mentioned Hades, I saw it. once like a week ago. I'm gonna buy it because it's roguelike. Yeah. So Hades is a good roguelike with a fun story. I played Hades all the way through, but after I got killed the first time boss, I cheated so that way I could do it again and again and again and see the rest of the story. Because I didn't want to have to try and master that game over and over and over again. It was a fluke that I got there to begin with. But yeah. So like I have like a goal that I set out for myself, and once I set that goal, it's free reign to do whatever I want. It's free real estate. Yeah. That's like a whole thing. Let's see. I like watching recent videos of old top. Right. So I like watching videos. But I like watching videos because of on old topics that are new. So I don't want to watch a Let's Play of Hades that was done 5 years ago. I want to watch a Let's Play of Hades that was done 6 months or less ago. And I think there's a market for recent videos of old content. Like Vampire the Masquerade, I liked watching the recent video of someone playing that rather than someone playing it 10 years ago. Even though almost nothing's changed except for like a little bit of the patches. I like watching, it feels good watching current content. Which I think you can get away with if you've made like 5 years worth of videos and you revisit videos. The war in Ukraine is still happening. I was during 2020, I think, was when it was happening, or 2021. I was traveling near there during the beginning of the war, but it's been years since, and I haven't seen anyone I know talk about it or even mention it. So, like, it was such a big thing, but there's only so much like bandwidth for negative or positive news that we can have before it becomes stale. Just like how we're driving, and you just kind of blank out. The more we're put into a situation where we have to look at something or think of something, the less stimulating it will become, because like we're looking for predators to see if we're going to die. But once it becomes commonplace, then we stop talking about it, and we become less emotionally attached to it. But people are still out there, like, dying. It just kind of simmer down, but it's still, yeah, it's still a huge thing that's happening every single day. But because it doesn't super directly impact my everyday life, it's not something that's in my everyday life. But it's still happening. And for the people that it is affecting their life, it makes me just wonder. Just like, it sucks. But I can't be emotionally invested in a war that's going to take 10 years, right? I can't be, I don't know how long it'll take. Because if I attach my self-identity to something that big for super long, I'm going to give up the ghost. It's going to destroy me. But also, it's something to be aware about. And if there's things that... It's hard. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what a correct way to handle something like that is. But it's happening, and I just wanted to bring it up because I thought about it recently and was looking at like the different things. It looks like Ukraine is in a bad spot, and it's right now a war of attrition. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how long like aid will last and things, but I don't know. It's something that's still happening. Speaking of wars, let's talk about Foxhole. So Foxhole is a game where you have like logistics. Like every single bullet that you fire is made by someone. And you can have people like you have like resource lines that go to the factories that make bullets, and then you drive tractors that you've built out to trucks out to the front lines to drop off materials, and those materials are then used by frontline soldiers. which could be yourself. You could like drive up something, get out, take a gun, and then go run up to the front lines and shoot someone. Like the entire game is built around a prolonged, like months-long war, where you're taking territory from this PvP base. So every time I have played a month-long war in that game, our side lost. Every time the minute I didn't play the next war after that, they won. I think I'm bad luck. I probably shouldn't join the army. Oh, and then I was sad. Foxhole is kind of neat. I feel the restrictions of top-down view. Yeah, it's top-down. I really liked it. It was a new way for me to enjoy a game, because I could like remove myself, because I hate PvP. I hate like first person like Halo PvP where but after, because I just liked the logistics of it. I like Satisfactory. I like the V-Rising gathering stuff. I like that. Create resources, and I like the camaraderie of giving those resources to people and sending them out. Like that feels nice to me. That's why I like playing Foxhole. I kind of got bored of it after playing it for like 4 or 5 months straight. And I was like, okay, let's stop for now before I become jaded about it, and let's just come back to it maybe eventually when I have like a friend that I might want to play with. I like Foxhole. But yes. I forgot what I was saying. All right. I was talking to one of the improv teachers, and she was like, hey, Dance, it's okay to waste time. Time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. I thought about that. We only have like one life. And if we're enjoying the time that we're here, then that's all we can ask of ourselves. If I'm enjoying sitting down after work and watching a full playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade, that's fine. I could have sat down and have recorded a video and made some content that may or may not take off. And if that took off and I had opportunities to go to like be partnered at TwitchCon or be partnered at the VTuber Con, and meet tons of friends, like, and have really good experiences, I can't guarantee that will happen. But what I can guarantee is that like today I'll enjoy myself, and I can commit at least one creative thing a week. And so I can enjoy the time that I spent wasting. Because I can set my goal of creating one like video a week and let that happen. I think I'm okay with that. There's a time where I was doing the grind, doing a video every day, doing a stream every day, doing highlights of all the things, and it not only burnt me out, but it made me pull back so hard from content creation that, and I made super bad videos. I made super like bad streams, and there was nothing about it, and like you could feel that I was losing interest in things that I was doing. And I think the pace that I'm at right now is good, because at least one day a week I have an idea, or like, today is the day I make the video. Today is the day I make the video. And so like I'll get up and I'll be like, all right, let's have like a 4-hour work break in the middle of the workday. Let's record this video, get it all out, get it all edited and upload it, and then we'll get back to work and just work extra long into the wee hours of the night. I'm so lucky that I have a job that I can do that. But yeah, attractive. So the Fallout 4 video was interesting because it has like a 60% like to dislike, and it's a couple of things that might be wrong, or that might got of so many dislikes. One is that I'm pretty sure everyone thought it was Fallout 4 sucks. That's not what that video was about, so like I'm fine with the dislikes. And it could have been marketed to the wrong group of people, because people that are searching for Fallout 4 content are not people that hate Fallout 4. And the people that liked it are probably have like the same opinion as me, or have the same opinion as what they thought the video was about, was that Fallout 4 sucks. So what I could have probably done instead, this is me learning, is like, Fallout 4 is a great video game, but why can't I have fun with it? That probably should have been my first, like the first part of it, where it appeases the people that are like, Fallout 4 is a bad video game. It's like, no, Fallout 4 is a good video game. I really like the art style. I really like the like the story that was told there. I've played it like from start to finish again, but going back on my second playthrough 10 years later, I can't figure out how to make it fun. That should have been my disclaimer at the beginning, and that would have probably gotten rid of all of the dislikes. So that's a message for me, especially in VRising, where like this next video that will come, I was like, VRising is an amazing game. I really love the art style. I love the top-down. I love the progression system. But for some reason, it makes me lonely. Let's talk about that. And that will get like Fallout. It's like Fallout or VRising isn't a bad game. I really like the game, but for some reason it makes me lonely. Let's talk about that. Like that's the thing that I learned from that video. Oh. Undercooked chicken is tough and chewy. Oh gosh. So I don't know how long to bake frozen chicken so that it's not raw on the inside. So like I'll bake frozen chicken for like 20 or 30 minutes, and like it'll be super dry and tough on the outside and like very hard, and then I'll like undercook it like 15 to 18 minutes, and it'll be like raw and chewy on the inside. I could probably just cut it up and make it so that it's all even, so that it's evenly cooked, so I know when it's done. But raw chicken is tough and chewy. Enough said. Denuvo slows loading times. Right. So I was looking at Denuvo and like the like how it's cracked, and like it's interesting of like the process that people crack Denuvo isn't that it's cracked, but that they replace all of the calls with successful calls, which requires you to like de-encrypt the RSA feed, re-encrypt it, and then encrypt it back. It's a process. That's very interesting how they don't. Most cracked games are just games that have an outer shell around it. That makes it so that whenever it tries to like poke out its tentacles to go to the web, it's like, oh, you're fine, you got this, you're fine. It just slaps its hand away. But when Denuvo is completely removed, like if you look at GOG games, good old games, they have no Denuvo. So if you buy like Fallout 4 on Steam, Fallout 4 on GOG, I don't know if that's true, but for example, if you buy one game on Steam, one game on GOG, GOG will be faster because it does not have Denuvo, unless they updated the Steam version to not also have Denuvo. And they'll do that a lot if the game has been cracked already. They'll just, let's remove it, let's lower down, that's like a performance fix, right? It's removing Denuvo. It's already been cracked. But Denuvo slows down loading times by 300%, roughly, depending on like the specs and the different like hard drives and stuff that you have, and depending on the game that you're playing, and depending on if it's optimized or if it's like a different type of Denuvo. But for the majority of like Tomb Raider and other things, so the reason why it slows is because it has to get the signal from Denuvo to unencrypt the files that then are loaded onto your machine. So yeah, it's performance may or may not take a hit. It takes a hit when you're loading into a new area where you'll have like spikes of loads. So like if you're looking in this direction and then you look in this direction and that's when the cactus spawns for the first time and it has to load that into memory, that's when like your frames will dip. So if things are like constantly like being object called, so if like this cactus, every time I looked away from it was gone from memory, and then every time I looked back at it, it's back into memory. Imagine that, but like every single pine needle on that thing also had its own like loading time, and so it'll be like that's so that's what Denuvo effects is from my mild amount of research, is the what's it called? The loading of assets that have to be decrypted at runtime. Yeah. Obsessive culture of finding the truth and trying to confirm biases. Right. So, one thing that I'll catch myself doing is like looking at the history of VTubers. So like Matara had a history, right? Before she was Matara. And I was just looking at the history of what she was doing before. And part of it is like this obsessive truth finding. But also, I know that unless she releases stuff, or wants to be publicly acknowledged for stuff, don't share. But I find the process of like how someone got from where I am to where like Iron Mouse was, or where someone like super famous is. It's like, what was their humble beginnings? What did they do differently? Like, that's curious for me. I like that. But also, I want to figure out like, hey, did they deal with any controversies that they were able to overcome? Did they like, I want the negative news as well as the positive news. Yeah, that's something that I don't think there's a right answer for. Just don't go around flaunting things that they aren't already flaunting. So if she's like releasing, so like Onikiri has IRL streams. So if you see her in the streets and you take a picture with her mask on, and like you ask her like, hey, can we release this, and like say, hey, if you get permission, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, and I think what people are comfortable releasing is what you should be releasing, or like talking about the current content rather than the content that they try to bury. Because I have a past as well, and I wouldn't want anyone looking into that past because it's not who I am anymore. And I deleted and got rid of all that stuff in the past, and I've like distanced myself from it because I didn't like who I was before. I didn't like the content that I created, or rather, like it wasn't a reflection of who I am, and there's a lot of good and bad memories that were associated with it, but it would do more harm than good in the long run. But also, it's something that I can face if ever brought up. But I don't. I buried it for a reason, because it's not who I am right now. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer and the Great Vowel Shift. So we talked about the Great Vowel Shift. The Canterbury Tales are like a 30 pilgrims, 4 stories each, 2 on the way there, 2 on the way back, and they went to the Canterbury Church. Like that's like a thing that they did. But Chaucer died only 24 stories in. And I thought it was fascinating when I was reading the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, that's what inspired him to do it, was the Canterbury Tales, and a couple other things as well, like the Odyssey. But yeah. And last but not least, printing press was invented in the 1440s. USA independence was in the 1776. For some reason, I thought that the printing press was invented in the 1840s. Nope, 400 years back. That's insane. That the printing press was created and invented and used in like medieval? No, not medieval. Renaissance? 1440s Chaucer and Canterbury Tales and Kings and yeah. 1440s. Like, because history is so insane. Because like 100 years is roughly what a person may or may not expect to live. Like 80 years is like the average life expectancy, but 100 is what I always think of when I think of like a generation. A generation technically is 25 years, but like a generational age, like you have 100 years in which history is kind of relevant to you. Where like 20 years before you were born was when your parents were born, so you have direct like line of culture from your parents to you, and you live for like 80 years to like 120 years, and so you have yeah. Yep. So I find history fascinating. So I find history fascinating. And I wanted to create like a Pericles, like the history of Pericles, but then I saw that the Internet Historian did like a whole theater thing, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, it was like 6 months ago, and so I don't know. Anyways, I will be doing my yard work that I have to do, doing a couple chores. I have so many different branches that I have to cut up and put into the bin. And then I have to take a shower, get ready, and go to Mother's Day. So thank you all for being here. I hope that you enjoyed the little talk show about a lot of different subjects. This week might be V-Rising, unless I wake up and I'm like, brilliant idea. I want to do this thing. So we'll figure it out. Yeah. And then next week is the last one of these talk show things here on such topics. Yeah, definitely. Nice to see you, Kenji. And yeah. I will talk to you next week. Oh. Ooh. Maybe later in the night. Because I have secondary Mother's Day next week. With like a party with like grandma and stuff. Yeah. Anyways, we'll do this one more time next week, and then I'll evaluate, see what I liked about it, see what I didn't, and then maybe the week after that do like a Sunday playthrough of something, and then have like talking points along with like a playthrough of something. Maybe Fallout 4. I'll figure it out. I don't have to think about that for 7 more days, but I will talk to you all later. Bye.